Good morning, YouTube. I have been trying to get a garden update video out for a while now, but it keeps taking me so long to edit it that it's then irrelevant, so I start over and it's been an endless cycle. So hopefully I can get this one edited and out to you because it is week 20, I think. Yeah, we're into September. I need a garden video update here. I have said in the past, last year, that I wasn't going to do fall gardening anymore. However, I'm a glutton for punishment, so I tried again. But I did try earlier. I had videos talking about when I was planting things, but you know, that was a while ago. So let's see what worked and what didn't, what came up, what didn't come up, and an update on everything else. My tomatoes are huge. They need a little trimming. There's some dead branches in there, but they've been putting off tomatoes for a while now. I have noticed some things about some different varieties. The best producers have been Amish paste is always a good one, and it will keep going through until the first frost. The Cherokee purples have been pumping out tomatoes like crazy. The German pinks are huge, huge tomatoes. I had one that was 1 pound, 8 ounces, and that's like, I think the biggest tomato I've ever had, or close to it. It's not as many tomatoes, but considering the size of them, it's a lot of poundage of tomato, and they're really good too. I tried San Marzanos to compare against the Amish paste, and so far I'm not really impressed. It tastes the same to me as the Amish paste. I don't really notice much of a difference, except that the San Marzanos are smaller, and they were one of the last ones to actually put out ripe fruit. Amish paste was my first. So we'll see how the end of the year compares with the first year, but so far I think I'm going to stick with the Amish paste. A little disappointed on the pink jazz. The pineapple has also not been as great as it has been in the past. The pineapple tomato, that is. I don't have actual pineapples. If I want a yellow tomato, like last year, my best one was the Kentucky beefsteak. They just pumped out tomato after tomato. And my biggest disappointment is, for some reason, my pink ox hearts just did not do well. They got stunted somehow. And I only got one tomato off of them, and then they're done. I've had a lot better luck with the pink ox heart before, so I'm not sure what the issue is. Maybe it's something in the soil right there, because there were 3 in a row and like all 3 of them were just bleh. I'm not sure. Maybe an animal used it as a bathroom or something. I don't know. I couldn't find any reason for it, but so many other ones have done so well this year. Like Cherokee purple is awesome. German pink is awesome. The Amish paste, always a good one for sauce. We don't really eat those fresh, because they do taste more like store-bought tomatoes, but they have nice thick flesh, and they put out a lot of tomatoes, and they're very consistent producer. So for sauce, Amish paste is great. For fresh eating, give me the Cherokee purple or the German pink. Not bad harvest for the day. Now, this is the bed that had the corn in it. The corn is a huge disappointment. I got 6 half-size cobs, basically. And that's it. Everything else was just baby corn. They didn't get very tall. They turned red, a lot of them. And then they flowered when they were like 3 feet tall, if that. Then we had some storms come through, which we usually do. So I've had best luck with corn when it was planted early here because of the midsummer storms that we get. But this one, like the short stalks and the slight discolorations, point more to a nutrient deficiency in this soil. Now this is soil that we bought last year. It is definitely drier than usual, but over here is by the water, it got more actual watering. I usually didn't water my corn at all because I generally don't water anything on the other side of the house. The hose barely reaches and doesn't reach some parts. Don't mind them. I think I need to add more of my compost that I make to this bed. But I did replant in here. Now I did not have starts inside like you're supposed to for a fall garden. So I tried direct seeding cauliflower and broccoli. And it appears none of them have germinated, so no broccoli this year. Apparently direct seeding broccoli just doesn't work for me. So I tried it in the spring and they grew like this tall and then just stayed there. And it took a really long time to germinate. And I tried it in the fall and it didn't germinate. So I guess I've just got to start broccoli inside. Now, on the bottom here is where I had my zucchini. The first round of zucchini, unfortunately, I did have to remove them all from vine borers, and I replanted then. That was like the beginning of August, somewhere around there, so I replanted. And those are up, obviously covered in weeds, but they're only like this big, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get anything out of those or not. The Siamese cucumbers are doing quite well. Lots of big melony type. Now these are not actually a cucumber, they're a type of melon, but they taste like cucumber and they make really good relish. The purple blaw-hilled beans on the arch trellis are doing very well. Still not as full as they were last year, so I am glad that I planted a few extra of the sunflowers. But we've been getting a lot off of these. Now the runner beans that are on the next trellis, they are starting to come back with a vengeance. The runner beans don't like the high heat, so they will stop putting out flowers in the middle of summer, but they keep growing the vines. They get massive. These only stopped for about 3 weeks-ish producing actual beans, and now they've already started coming back. We've got the cool evenings at night, and those will still be putting out a lot of beans by the time frost comes, whereas most everything else will be kind of puttered out by then. And here is just from the 2 trellises. It's a lot of beans. The pumpkins are getting quite big and they're starting to flower, so hopefully we will get lots of good pumpkins this year. Now over here we have the potato bed. I did harvest all the potatoes, but this year I went ahead and I replanted the whole bed with potatoes. For the fall gardening, the potatoes should sit underground dormant until spring, and they're about 4-6 inches down. So I was thinking that something with a more shallow root would be able to grow on top of it for fall garden stuff. So I went ahead and I planted more peas along the trellis, the fencing there, and most of them came up. I used a lot of older seed that I didn't care about, that I didn't need to save, some random seeds, and most of them did come up, even though some are quite old. And they're doing well. I planted those actually on time, so I should be able to get peas this year. I also planted some in this corner. I did some lettuce here, but it doesn't seem to have come up yet. It's in lines, and none of that looks like it's in a line. But on this side, I planted cabbage, and holy crap, I overseeded, so I am going to have to thin those out. But a lot of the cabbages came up, And so those are doing really well. Now it's not like the big heading cabbage because I would have needed to start those seeds a long time ago. These are Asian varieties. There's Suju Baby, Pak Choi, and Purple Lady. So 3 different type of Asian cabbages. They all have a shorter time, 45 to 60 days. They should do quite well. So hopefully they'll do better, because usually when I plant cabbage in the spring, it ends up going to seed before I can harvest it most of the time. Now the dry beans, I did start harvesting. I harvested all the black beans and the pinto beans that were on this side, but the kidney beans on the far side are still going. I've harvested some. I need to go through and pick them again, but they're doing really good. Now the sweet peppers have been doing pretty good. These are the blots. I've gotten actually a few really big peppers. The Etiuda is finally making some little peppers. So hopefully some of these will have a chance to ripen. And the one Lesia plant has 3 heart-shaped peppers. They're still very green, but I'm really, really hopeful of these. Obviously the sunflowers have died back, but they're making seed. The beans, the Blauhild beans growing up them, are just starting to put out little tiny beans. And the bush beans that I planted in this bed are taking over. And I got 2 zucchini plants. These were the mid-season planting. Only 2 of the plants came up, but they are flowering. I don't know how well they're going to do, though. This is off of the 2 arch trellises. And this is out of the bed of bush beans. Now for the onion bed, I pulled all my onions, and I did get a decent crop. I do like the red onions that I got. I don't know what variety they are, because it was just red onion bulbs from the store. But they were fairly sweet for a red onion. Not super bitter. I do like them. So I left 4 of them in the ground to go to seed next year. As for the rest of the bed, because I really want to grow globos, I had a handful of seeds that I got from my son, and I planted them to go to seed. Hopefully they will grow enough this year that they'll seed next year. If not, they'll seed the year after that. But they are actually starting to sprout. There's a few. I see 5, 6, maybe. There's a few that are about this long. And the rest of the bed, I planted a couple of Swiss chard and then a lot of beets. Mostly the red beets stuff. There's one that was called Lutz. It's supposed to be a winter keeper. And some Cylindra and Detroit red. The beets haven't come up yet, but it hasn't been that long. And my 4 onions for seed are on the other side of the massive oregano plant that I still need to cut back. Well, that's not everything, but that is most of the stuff that has updates to give. Trying to keep this a little bit short so maybe I can actually get it edited together and uploaded. So thanks for coming along with me today. May the Father bless you. Shalom.